everybody. Welcome back to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. We're excited to see you. That's why I said welcome back. Just a whole weekend is too long to be away from you. We're going to kick things right off with the only story that matters tonight, and that's what's on TV next Sunday. Because my CBS colleague Oprah Winfrey has released a teaser of next week's blockbuster interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Oh my God, I can't believe actual royalty is going to talk to Harry and Meghan. Mr. and Mrs. Sussex, or Harrigan as they're never called, are undeniably everyone's favorite royals, right after the Queen, Kate Middleton, and the Duke of Hastings from the waist down. God, I hope that's a blur. He should see a doctor. This interview is all anyone can talk about, even though there is nothing to talk about because the show won't air until Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central on your local CBS station. Smooth. But still, the anticipation is wild. For 24 hours, this interview was the top of the Drudge Report. Normally, to make that high on Drudge, you got to be an ad promising one weird trick to shrink your enlarged prostate or a tactical vest for your enlarged prostate. So what they talk about? From the teaser, it's a little hard to tell.
Were you silent or were you silenced? I just want to make it clear to everybody there is no subject that's off limits. You've said some pretty shocking things here. Wait, hold up, wait a minute.
Wow. Whatever they said, and it is unknowable. It clearly stunned Oprah, so it's either something real juicy and dishy, or she asked for sparkling water and the waiter brought her still. But you heard her. No subject was off limits, which I hope means the first hour is hot goss on the cast of Suits. Is Gabriel mocked a diva? Also, who is Gabriel mocked? I haven't seen the show. I hear good things. What else is going on, Chris? What do we have? Oh, we had the thing. What's the thing called? CPAC. This weekend was the annual Conservative Political Action Conference, billed as the largest and most influential gathering of conservatives in the world. That's if you don't count their last gathering. This weekend's lineup included a bunch of people who spread the big lie that led to that insurrection, like Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, and Arizona Representative Paul Gosar. It was a murderer's row of people who were okay with Mike Pence being murdered. Before the speakers even opened their mouths, CPAC got off to a rough start because eagle-eyed Twitter users pointed out that the convention stage was in the shape of an odal rune, which is a symbol used on some Nazi uniforms. Okay, how much resemblance are we talking about here? This is the shape of the stage, and here is the SS uniform with the odal rune. Holy Himmler! Now, some people don't see it, but when you look at them side by side, it's kind of hard to not see it. Fascist symbolism aside, one of the stupidest moments of the entire stupid weekend came from stupid Texas senator and waterlogged corpse of the Notre Dame leprechaun, Ted Cruz. Cruz carefully explained the stakes of our national conflict with an easy-to-follow analogy.
The media here looks at the men and women gathered here, at the young people gathered here, as dangerous radicals. This is the Rebel Alliance. And Vader and the Emperor, and let's be clear, they're not your father, are terrified of the rebels who are here. We aren't the Borg enforcing. Okay, I may have committed a cardinal sin mixing Star Wars and Star Trek. That next thing you know, you're going to cross the streams and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's going to come.
Stay with me here. We're Doctor Who, but not the lady one. And we got all the Infinity Stones except for the Sorcerer's Stone, which is still at Hogwarts in that wardrobe with the witch and the lion, who is not my dad. Cruz wrapped up his speech, making one thing clear. He knows even more movie references.
In the immortal words of William Wallace, freedom!
considering the shape of that stage, I bet he wasn't the only person at CPAC quoting Mel Gibson. The headliner of the weekend was the former president. His speech was pretty light on substance and energy, but there was one major revelation. He told the audience that he would not start a third party. Of course he isn't going to start a new political party. He already owns one. These people worship the ground he walks on. Literally, the biggest attraction at CPAC was the giant golden statue of him. Oh, nothing says the party of Christian values like worshiping a golden idol. And it's an Old Testament twofer, because he'll also covet your wife, neighbor. Now, he said a lot of things, and some of it was stupid, and the rest was just dangerous. But I'm not going to play any of the clips, because the country needs to move on, and frankly, I just don't care anymore. Because
Steven!
Jimmy, what's that?
Come on, Steven, it's me, your favorite former president whose name you won't say.
Please leave.
Oh, don't you want to tell jokes about me?
No.
Come on, I said fragrant when I meant to say flagrant. Just play that one, it'll be hilarious.
I'm good.
But you used to tell jokes about me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Remember my naked corruption, my gross incompetence, my tiny widow hands, and don't forget my ridiculous hair. It looks like a merkin fell into...
A cotton candy machine. Yeah, I remember. But you're not in power anymore, so who gives a damn?
But I spoke at CPAC yesterday. It's such an important, newsworthy event. I'm still so relevant. If people don't talk about me, I'll melt. I'm melting. I'm melting. Or maybe that's just my bronzer. Goodbye, not cruel enough world.
Get him, Betty!
Psych, I'm never leaving. I'm human herpes. See you in 2024.
Go! Get out! Get out! Why, I oughta. Speaking of golden idols, last night they held the Golden Globes. This year, the Globes were hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler on opposite coasts, and most of the celebs joined in via Zoom. All the glamour was from the waist up, so we had no idea if the drapes matched the red carpet. This year's looks ran the gamut from Cynthia Erivo in Valentino and Nicole Kidman in Louis Vuitton, all the way to Jason Sudeikis in tie-dye hoodie. And you can shop Jason Sudeikis' look by digging into the bottom of your hamper and then taking that edible you've been saving for an emergency. Good for you, Jason. Keep it real, brother. This year's Globes came under a lot of scrutiny after a former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association admitted the group hasn't had any black members in 2 decades. Explains why in the past years they've given Golden Globes to Green Book and Hellman's. Last night, the Globes tried to remedy the problem by putting as many black presenters on screen as humanly possible. A bold effort, but it kind of looked like an all-white high school trying to put together a yearbook that looked diverse. Hey, Malik, I know you're not actually in the French club, but parlez-vous diversité? Grab a baguette. Get in here, buddy. That joke written by our writer, John Thibodeau. John, you want to get in here?
Nope.
Okay, but the big news of the night was when the Golden Globe for Best Original Score was won by our friend, Mr. John Baptiste. Come on! For his work on the soundtrack of Soul. I'm so happy for John. I'm so grateful to be able to work with him every day because a man of his talent can work anywhere except, evidently, the Hollywood Foreign Press. One person not enjoying the spotlight right now is New York Governor and Sharpay when you bring home the new baby, Andrew Cuomo. First, the governor was accused of covering up COVID deaths in nursing homes. Now, 2 former aides accused him of sexual harassment in the workplace. The first, a former state economic development official, Lindsay Boylan, said Cuomo harassed her on several occasions from 2016 to 2018, at one point giving her an unsolicited kiss on the lips at his Manhattan office. Boylan also says that once on a flight back from Western New York, the governor said, "Let's play strip poker." My first reaction was that's entirely inappropriate. My second reaction was, really? Strip poker on a plane? How limber is he? All right, all I got is a pair of 2s. The rest is slop. Gotta take these pants off. Excuse me, could you move your seat back up a little bit? My belt buckle is catching on the magazine pocket. But then I found out it was a private jet, or in this case, privates. Cuomo's office denied Boylan's accusations, but then the governor was also accused of sexual harassment by his former executive assistant and health policy advisor, Charlotte Bennett. Bennett had just turned 25 last year when Cuomo asked her in his office if she had ever been with an older man. I mean, really old, but still kind of cut. May or may not have a nipple ring. Ringing any bells that might be hanging from my nipple ring? This time, Cuomo apologized, but gave this excuse. At work sometimes I think I am being playful and make jokes that I think are funny. I know that one. Knock, knock. Who's there? An older man. An older man who? An older man who is not too old to have sex with? Bennett also says that they were discussing her 25th birthday, and Cuomo said that he felt he's fine with anyone above the age of 22. Wow! Her office birthday party must have been awkward. Happy third year, I'm willing to date you. Bennett believes the governor was grooming her by trying to get close, remembering at one point they bonded over the fact that she had played middle school soccer against one of his daughters. Oh, I hope he's not one of those nightmare sports dads who's always yelling, "Hey, ref, how old is that one?" Now people are calling for an independent investigation, like New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, seen here proving not all superheroes wear capes, or are super, or are heroes. De Blasio and Cuomo are friendly rivals, much the same way that a cobra and a mongoose like to kid each other, which may be why de Blasio seemed so quick to call Cuomo's alleged behavior just disgusting, creepy. When I heard it, it sickened me, it disgusted me, but it also sounded like, yeah, I could believe that happening too, and that's why we need a full investigation. Adding, someone else is hated more than me! Woo! Keep investigating! I'm free! Suck it, Andy! We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Andy Samberg and CNN's Clarissa Ward. But when we return, is beer good for you now? The answer may surprise you. If you thought the answer was yes,